Hey, we are live, Mike.
Hey,
Um,
what's
we
up, everyone?
we are real dead, and I'm Josh, the horror guy, and this is keeping it real, Mike.
Keeping it REEL, and all you old school people know what that means.
Yes. So tonight's live was kind of spontaneous. We just talked today. Mike just got back from Mad Monsters Expo. It is his first horror convention he's ever been to, right, Mike?
Very first horror convention. I've been to several Comic-Con conventions, kind of smaller ones, but this is the first horror convention, and I'm definitely going to give you what I think about the horror versus comic book type convention.
Okay. So you just got back. I mean, you literally went Friday and you went today, and then now you're back tonight at home. So what are some initial thoughts that you have of this? What got your interest? What were some of the people there that caught your interest? Let us know some stuff about that, Mike.
Well, me and Anthony, we have every Friday night, we have horror movie Friday night, scary movie Friday night. So for the last couple of years, Anthony's kind of getting older, and I'm trying to let him have experience to some of the older horror movies first. I've seen him so many times. I know when there's sex scenes, and I can just say, cover your eyes and blah, blah, blah. But he likes it. And so every Friday night around 8 or 9 o'clock, we watch, a horror movie every week. But um, when I found out that Kane Hodder is going to be here, and I've got a bunch of stuff from Friday the 13th. I'm a big Friday 13th fan from really earlier on than even more so the late movies. But Kane Hodder had been in 4 Friday the 13th movies, and so I wanted to go. Kane Hodder's getting older. A lot of these guys back in the 70s and 80s, they're in their 60s and 70s, sometimes 80s now, and I mean, we don't know when any of us are going to be around. So I wanted him to meet them
Mm-hmm.
and get some autographs, take some memorabilia over to him, let him sign it,
Yeah.
so that when I'm dead and gone, he at least has it, and he can either give it to his kids or pass it on or whatever he wants to do.
Sure.
So,
Sure. So what were some of the guests there that got your interest, Mike?
well, I got a kind of a list right here, and I can go through it really quick.
Yeah.
This was the lineup, and this lineup compared to some in the past is kind of a little bit weaker, but they had some that came in at the last minute. They had Doug Bradley, who played Pinhead.
Yep.
You got Richard Brake, who played Games of Thrones, the ice looking dude, the main bad guy on that show.
Yeah.
You got Melinda Clark here, who played in Return of the Living Dead 3 and Spawn and Gotham. You had a professional wrestler, Danhausen, or Husen, however how you want to. He's with AEW.
Did you end up seeing him around, Mike?
I've seen him on AEW every once in a while, but he probably had the least amount of people at his booth. I will say that.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say he's super popular, but
No. Elliot Fulham, who is the teenager in the Terrifier 2 movie, he was there. You got Kane Hodder. Today we did a photo shoot with him with the Jason X pre-Uber, and then he's also tomorrow doing an 8-bit Jason. Then you had this little kid named Wesley Halloway, who's probably only 9 or 10. He played the weird-looking character in Terrifier 2 that's eating Art the Clown's cereal with his eyes in the back of his head. You also had David Patrick Kelly there. You had Heather Langenkamp, who did not show up last night, and I was worried she wasn't going to be there. Her plane had to be landed last night. She didn't get in until the AM this morning, but she was there. Okay. You also have Lauren Lavera, who plays Sienna in Terrifier 2. She was there. You had Rose McGowan. She was there from Scream.
Tatum.
Yep. Charmed. Several movies. Grindhouse.
Yep.
You had Bill Moseley there. He was from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and Devil's Rejects.
Yep.
You had, this was a late one here. Robert Patrick was there.
T-1000.
Yep, he was there. And you had Jeff Daniel Phillips, who played in 31, 3 from Hell, Zodiac, Halloween 2, and The Munsters. He was there. You had Lynn Quigley. You had Catherine Scott. You had Papa Shango. Godfather was there. And we saw him at the Texas Roadhouse
WWE Hall of Famer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. He had usually a pretty good little crowd, not as big as some of the horror people, but he had a steady flow of people.
Well, he's a legend. He's a
Yep.
legend.
PJ Souls was there. One of my favorites, the original Halloween.
Yeah.
Stripes, Rock and Roll High School, Carrie.
Yeah.
She's been in quite a few movies.
Yep.
Then you had Peter Weller. Dr. Peter Weller was there.
RoboCop.
And Amanda Weiss, Nightmare on Elm Street, Better Off Dead, Silverado.
Yep.
So really, a really good.
So who were like the let's name the top 3 that you were most looking forward to seeing. Not the ones that you were most impressed with after you met them. I'm talking about initially the top 3 that drew you to this event.
Kane Hodder.
Yep.
PJ Souls.
Yep.
And Doug Bradley.
Okay. Now
that's me personally.
Okay. Out of everybody that you met, well, tell the people who are the ones that you got autographs from and who are the ones that you met.
Okay, so we got Doug Bradley. We got his autograph. We got Elliot Fulham. Really nice kid. Really nice to Anthony. One of the cheapest autographs. And then he told Anthony he could take a selfie with him. A lot of them were charging you for selfies too. He did not charge you for a selfie. Neither did Doug Bradley, which I thought was awesome. Kane Hodder, he got a lot of our money. Kane Hodder, 3 pictures, $180. Plus, we did a photo shoot with him, which was around $120. So he got $300 of our money.
He doesn't get all that money. I'm sure the convention.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a cut on that.
Hey, listen real quick, Mike. The Trevlin Gilbert said, "Did you say Leanna Quigley?"
I ain't no telling what I said.
No,
it's late at night, huh?
Didn't you say Leanna Quigley? Isn't that the girl that was in?
Yeah, Lena Quigley.
Lena Quigley.
She was in Return to the Living Dead and Night of the Demons. I may have butchered the way I said her name, though.
No. I'm just saying. He's saying. I think he's a fan. That's why he said that.
Yeah, I did get her autograph, and I could have got it very easily. Let's see. I've got Amanda Weiss's autograph, PJ Souls' autograph, and
Heather Langenkamp,
Rose McGowan. I got her autograph. So I think it was 7 different ones I got their autograph.
That's great. Now, listen, out of all those people, who was generally the nicest person that you met out of all those?
That's really hard because I'm be honest with you. All of them were really nice. They wasn't a-holes like you hear some of them are a-holes.
Who's the one that went above and beyond that you thought?
Kane Hodder had a bottle of, I think, Patron, a bottle of Patron sitting there and drinking it straight out of a glass. He was pouring straight in a glass. But his line was forever long. And I told him the story, and this is honest God's truth. It's a true story. I just recently watched his To Hell and Back, his documentary on him. Yeah. And he talks about being bullied, and he talks about being burned over 50% of his body, if you didn't know that. And my father was burned over 50% of his body when I was 5, 6 years old.
Okay.
And then Anthony has suffered from some bullying in the past. Right. And I told him that story, and he just was like, he was into what I was saying. He wasn't like trying to blow me off. He's like, how did Anthony deal with that? Is he over it? And your dad, with ammonia burn, is it different than a fire burn? And he really asked a lot of good questions. He said, I told him they had to scrape the skin off my dad, just like, in the documentary they did for him. And he probably spent, this is a long line, and he probably spent 10 or 12 minutes with me and Anthony, and he charges for selfies as well. And when we were done at the very end, I figured he took his $180, he's going to be done with it. He asked me, he said, "Do you mind if I take a picture with your son, Anthony, and you take a picture?" And I said, "No, man, that's awesome." So I took 4, 5, 6 pictures of him and Anthony together, and he didn't charge us for him. He'd already got $180, but I think he knew I just watched his documentary and knew about his past, and there was a little bit of a connection there. He saw Anthony a couple other times at a Q&A, and he winked at him. I think we both were wearing Friday the 13th outfits, shirts.
Right.
So he picked up that we were fans of his.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's great to hear. I heard Doug Bradley was also really genuine and nice to you, man.
Doug Bradley, super, super nice
And
guy.
if people don't know who that is, he plays Pinhead in the Hellraiser series.
Yep.
You also got a couple of autographs from him that I'm jealous of, Mike, because I
Yeah, I
love what
got
he said.
two
I
awesome autographs. I might be able
I
to show
love
you
what he
one.
says to you on those. I love the way he signed those, Mike. I think it's awesome.
I'll show you this one. I also got him to sign it's going to be hard to see this one, but he wrote this to Anthony.
Can't see it. I
Okay,
can't
it
anyway.
says "See you in hell," Doug Bradley.
I love that.
But it
Well,
looks really good
Pinhead.
on the NECA figure. But he talked to us again, really nice. He was really engaged with Anthony, asking him questions about school and what grade he was in, and he only charged $40 a signing, which was one of the cheapest there, and he didn't charge for selfies. Me personally, I mean, I know these are professionals. There's a strike going on. A lot of them are older.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't charge for selfies, and a lot of them do. I mean, I know it sounds crazy to have to pay for a selfie, but these people charge for selfies nowadays. I mean,
Right.
that's
Well,
kind of common.
it's part of their how they make their living, you know, Mike? I
Yeah,
mean, some of
you
these
got
people aren't they're not working as much as they once did, and this is their job now. So I totally understand that, you know, they don't want to give things like this away for free. I get that. But some are nice. And I think did one or two more people kind of throw in an extra for free with you?
every one of them. I mean, once they saw Anthony was there, like Rose McCowan.
Like Tatum and
Um,
Scream.
Yep. She was charging quite a bit. It was $60 for a selfie, $60 for an autograph, $20 if you wanted to have her write a saying on your picture. Um, and but when Anthony got up there, and a lot of them, I was like, hey, it's, the same story. I tell them all. I'm trying to get my son into watching the older stuff and working their way out. And I grew up on you guys, and so she said, who do you want me to write it out to? And she said, Anthony. And she asked him again some questions. And then she said, I'm going to get a special line for you. And all I paid for was the autograph, which was 60. And she wrote a special extra line on it. And she allowed me to video the whole thing. So
That's cool.
and they were kind of stopping some people from video, and they didn't want you to video them doing
That's really
certain
cool.
things. Yep.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think out of some of the stars there, she's like one of more on the younger side. I mean, I think she's almost like kind of around
49.
your age.
I think she's 49.
Yeah, she's a little around your age, Mike, but like most of the people there are what, 60 plus, Mike, wouldn't you say?
60s and 70s.
Right. So she was kind of like on the younger side. She still was working in Hollywood not that long ago. And so maybe that's why she charges more of a premium. I don't know.
And
Um,
PJ Souls was really nice too. I mean, everybody was nice, but PJ Souls, that's the first autograph we got. She only charged $40, and you got to take a selfie free with her. But she, when I pulled out the thing I got from her, she lit up. She said, "Oh, this is the first one I've." She said this. It's the first one I've been able to sign. I don't know if that's true or not. I told her I just got it in this week, but she
that's
says
cool, Mike.
to Anthony totally. And PJ Souls, I mean, she's an early scream queen. I mean, of course, Halloween, Carrie.
I was gonna say that's in your favorite horror movie, Mike.
Yep. And she told me, she said that she asked Anthony what grade he was in and what he was going into. And a couple of them loved Anthony's hair. He just got his hair highlighted, and
Man, Mike,
school starts Monday.
You got an in with a kid, huh?
I told Anthony he's got to stay small for at least a couple more years.
So hey, we got
parents, use your kids as an in.
I wanted to say that Blaine is here. I want Mozone's here, and she said it's always great to hear celebs are kind. Such great memories for you both. Yeah, it is. I mean, I told Mike, I said, man, you know, I wish my dad would have been. Me and my dad didn't really have much in common, and interest wise, growing up when I was growing up, and so like we never did anything like this, and so it's really cool that Mike, you and your son did this together, and hopefully this is not the last. It'll be first of many.
Well, we're already Josh. We're already talking about November.
Yes.
after the group cruise.
Yeah.
There's one in the middle of November down in Atlanta, and
Yeah.
Anthony's chomping a bit to go to it. It's got the
Oh,
screencast there at that one.
Mike, that would be a bucket list for me to get a picture with Nev, Jamie Kennedy, Skeet Ulrich, and Matthew Lillard.
And they're all there.
That would be epic, Mike.
Yep,
That
they're all
would
going
be
to
an
be there.
epic photo. Um, and yeah, I mean, autograph possibilities. I mean, yeah, I mean, Nev is legitly top 3 final girl of all time. I mean, she's in the top 3. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome to
So,
go to that.
Josh, I
And
see Mozone said, love PJ Souls in Rock and Roll High School with the Ramones. She
you,
actually talked about that.
yeah,
And we're going to have a vlog come out later on where we did, recorded an interview with her. But she talked about she had never heard the Ramones until about a week before the shooting. And she started listening to all their music. And she said it was nothing she was used to listening to. And she said that the Ramones themselves were extremely shy, extremely non-professional actors. They really struggled. But she said once they got to the recording where they could play their music, she said it was like a light bulb turned on for them, and she could tell, and their element was music.
yeah,
And she said that she wished now. Now PJ Soul said this, and she's in her 70s. She said there's a revitalization of 70s and 80s music and horror movies, and you're seeing a lot of young kids, Anthony's age, high schoolers, early 20s, that are going back, and they love the way the film looks. It kind of sounds, it's different than now. Not everything's 4K and HD, but they like that genre and that feel to those movies.
right.
And it's becoming really popular again.
No doubt, Mike. So I was gonna say, Mike from Nebraska said, "What happened to $5 for an autograph? That kind of money, it should come with a hamburger." Mike from Nebraska, this isn't 1950, dude. Five
Dude, it
dollars
was
for an autograph.
$13 for 3 chicken tenders, man.
Yeah, dude. I told Mike. I said, Mike, just know this: when you go to a convention like that, you better have a pocket full of money. That's
Well,
true.
I'm going to tell on myself, and I had to tell my wife here earlier. She took $300. I'd already paid for the tickets, and she pulled me $300 out. And I'm thinking $300 probably ain't going to go very far with autographs. Now, some of them I thought was going to be cheaper than what they were, and they were actually more, like Rose McGowan. I didn't think hers would be that high.
Right.
So I spent.
They don't have like a sign at their booth saying this is how much
Yeah.
we charge. Oh, okay, so okay.
Yep. So I spent $280 of the $300 the first night.
Right.
So I went to the ATM, which was convenient there, and got another 200 out.
Yeah.
And I came home with about $40.
Okay.
So I probably, between the room there, the tickets I bought in advance, the picture with Kane Hodder, and all the autograph signings, I probably dropped $1,000.
Adventures, that's a lot. Well, Mike, it's an experience, and where else are you going to do that? You know,
Well, a lot of those actors, I probably won't get their autograph again. So it's a once in a lifetime thing. And once it's done, I mean, you move on to somebody else, or,
Yep. My wife Michelle said she's glad that you guys got to do that event together. That is really cool. Like I said, she also put Atlanta. Mozone said so new. Wait, so Newell? Joey was always so cool, I think. I don't know. Joey was always very shy. I got to dance with him once. Looking forward to seeing that video. Thanks, Mike. Yeah.
That's cool.
Talking about Joey Ramone, huh? Yeah. The Ramones are always like their music.
Two brothers, right?
Huh?
Is it Joey and John, or Joey and
Yeah. Their music is weird, but I actually listened to it a bunch this past week because they did the Pet Sematary song. And so we were doing, our video just came out last night, Friday, about Pet Sematary. So I kind of listened to it a couple times, gearing up for Pet Sematary. The Gilbert says, hashtag everyone knows Mike is rolling. Yeah, you're rolling with some money, dude.
Rolling with some plastic.
My Michelle said, dang, your wife said it's just money. You both will have the memories forever. That's right.
I
You
need
can
to
always,
can we please screenshot that?
hey, listen, you
Let's
can always make
screenshot what
more.
she just said there.
You can always make more money. That's right. You can, no
Well,
doubt.
this is the
So,
thing with Anthony today. I mean, it's a time for him and I to bond a little bit. But one thing I will say about this event, this was again our first ever horror convention. When I was in line, what I got here was called a RIP.
yeah.
And when you hear the price of this, you're going to think, oh my god! But this RIP bracelet got you in 3 days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I
Yep.
may or may not go back tomorrow. I doubt I will, but I may.
How far of a drive is it for you, Mike?
It's only 60 miles, so it took me
Okay.
about 75 minutes.
Okay.
Not bad at all. But for $199, it got you in all 3 days. Normally, a ticket a day is between, I think, about 50 to 60 bucks. If you buy it early, it's maybe 45.
Oh, so when you buy when you buy the RFI whatever,
RIP.
that's like your ticket, but just like a higher, like you get like special things
Kind of
with
like
it.
a VIP, but a RIP. This is the thing. Anthony was under 12, so he got him free. So for this bracelet, $199, this is what all I got. I've got a swag bag, which I got a DVD of Kane Hodder in there with that. I'll show that in a video later on, separate vlog. I got that swag bag. There is a RIP room, which is really cool. You get all the water you want, all the snacks you want. They're playing music. They got a movie playing.
What kind of
Really
snacks
nice.
and drinks was it? What kind of snacks and drinks was it?
I mean, it's just water, and it was like pretzels and popcorn, and
Cookies?
cookies and stuff like that.
Well, at least you had something to snack on though, and get a
But you
drink.
also had really nice chairs to hang out in. So if you're tired of standing and waiting on somebody, you just go in there and hang out, sit
Right.
down, and listen
Right.
to music, text people, message, whatever.
Right.
But it also got you. This is the number one thing, and this is why I think it was worth the money. It got you to you got in every day 30 minutes earlier than everybody else. So when the crowd, like when it starts at 11, you got in at 10:30, and you could go to these booths and some of these autograph things, and you were at the front of the line. Also, it got you anytime there was a line, they had people with red shirts on that said Mad Monster Stiffs. Instead of staff, it said Stiffs. I thought it was
I like
hilarious.
that.
And you would just see them and show your you got this little a little badge, and they would move you to the front of the line. So you saw some of these lines that had like Kane Hodder, Rose McGowan, Doug Bradley. They had 70, 100 people in their lines,
Wow.
and it would move you to the very front
That's
and
crazy.
skip everybody. And so to me alone, it was worth that.
Right. So did you took advantage of the front of the line several times?
Every time.
Okay. Did you see a lot of other people doing that too?
Yeah, the photo shoot today with Kane Hodder at 3:30. I'm gonna guess it was 200 people in line.
So if you buy a ticket for all 3 days, how much was it? Without the RIP?
It was $199.
How much?
$199.
No, without the RIP.
Oh, it's $50 a day. So it's 100. It's like it was either 45 or 50 if you bought in advance. So
you're paying an extra $50 to get RIP status?
50 to 70 bucks. Yeah, 50 bucks.
That's totally worth it.
I thought it was to get in 30 minutes early, and then also, I mean, a lot of people may just go for one day though. So I mean, it's 50 bucks or
Right.
$199.
Well, do you think it's worth it to go 2 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. We were probably done other than our photo shoot. I mean, there's only so much you can look at the stuff they have there, and if you get all the autographs you want to get, there's only so much you can get. Now, one thing they had at these also, which was awesome, was I said it earlier, was Q&A panels.
Yeah.
So they would bring PJ Souls in, Kane Hodder in, Doug Bradley in, the Terrifier 2 cast in, all these people. Tomorrow, I know Heather Langenkamp and Amanda Weiss are going to be up there together.
That would be a cool panel, dude.
But you go in there, and for 30 minutes, they talk for about 10 minutes. That is kind of gave questions to them, and then the next 20 minutes is you raise your hand, you ask them questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One thing I didn't like, and I will say this, I told Josh is, we got on the first or second row to video, and then they came out right off the very beginning and said, there is a actor strike, and because of the actor strike, you can't ask questions about certain movies, you can't video, and you can't take pictures. And I was like, really? But there was ways they could get around that. Like if the actor brought that up or actress brought that up, it was okay. Um, but that's one thing that did suck.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to have videoed right there on the, on the front row. The
Right.
RIP also gets you into the first 4 to 5 rows of the convention room where they were doing the Q&A
That's
was
great.
for RIP members. So you got to go sit in those first 4 or 5 rows too.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, man, yeah, that Heather Langenkamp and what's her name, Amy Wiseman. That would
Amanda
be a cool,
Weiss.
that would be a cool panel to go to. Having two stars from the same movie, that would be really cool to hear that. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm so. Besides that, did you have any other dislikes about it, Mike?
For me, I don't walk a lot. So, I mean, it's not really a dislike. It's for me, if you have mobility issues or something like that, you do have to, stand up a lot. You're walking a lot. The vendors I thought in there were very reasonable on the prices. They didn't jack the prices way up. I got Anthony today. I bought him, they had these 18 by 28 posters that a guy had made, and he had signed them and everything. And he wanted $20 for one or 3 for 40. So Anthony got this really cool poster that had, uh, Ghostface on it, had Freddie, Jason, and Michael on it. Then he got a Terrifier poster, and then he got a Leatherface poster. But he got all 3 of those for $40. I mean, it's 20 for one or 3 for 40, and we're going to frame them, put them in his room. So
That's awesome.
I tried to get him to let me put them back here, and he's like, no, 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 they're going to my room.
Did you pick up any collectibles, Mike, while you're there?
I did buy, and I don't have it down here with me, but it's upstairs. I got a Art the Clown Terrifier.
Okay.
That I think I had you look it up for me. You told me it was running for about $40
On eBay, yep.
Yep, I got it for $20 there.
Nice
And
job.
so yeah, if you like collectibles like Funko Pops and NECA figures,
They had
and
all that kinds of stuff there, Mike. Tons of
they had all that
Funko.
there. They had some really unique stuff too. I mean, that you're not going to see at your normal flea market. Or
Did you end up going to see that 13X guy?
he was set up directly across from Kane Hodder, his table, and him and the handler. A lot of you may not know this, and you may know it if you went to conventions. Each star or movie star would have a handler or two. So when you got in line to go do everything, you would pay the handler. And then some of them were really good. They'd say, "How do you spell your name? Who do you want it written out to in advance?" And they'd put that sticky note there for Kane Hodder or whoever, so they would know who to write it to and who was, doing that. But he had something going on with him, and they was joking back and forth. The guy in 13X really has a cool website. I would check it out if you ever want to on the internet, social media. But he creates these hockey masks, and he started out doing it in his basement as a hobby, and then now he's doing it full time. He goes to conventions, and he actually Damien, I can't remember his last name. Is it Lewis? Not Lewis. The one that did Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
I don't remember his last name. It starts with L. He played in Terrifier 2 as like a little cameo in it. So
Cool.
he's got some really cool masks, anything from Jaws to Billy to I mean, you name it. He's got different hockey masks with different colors and stuff
I'll
on it.
have to check that out.
It's really cool. He does
Yeah,
custom stuff too.
definitely. So anything else you want to say, Mike, about the horror convention? I mean, you thought it was worth the money. You think it's worth the experience. You didn't have issues with any of the people there. Nobody was being a jerk or anything like that.
No, that's the one thing I forgot to comment on that. Early on, there was a lady in the RIP room where we went in to get our swag bag. This lady was coming around. I mean, the staff with Mad Monsters is incredible. You could see a red shirt anywhere asking questions that help you out. And the lady said, "Oh, I'm sure you've already been before, right?" And I was like, "No, I've never been here." And she said, "You've never been to a convention?" I said, "Well, I've went to a comic convention, but not a horror convention." She said, "Well, you're going to see real quick that the horror community is a lot nicer than the comic convention." I was like, "Whoa," kind of taken back by that.
Hmm.
But I will say 100% they were.
And you'd go to it again.
The crowd in there, walking back and forth, super nice, super friendly. The cosplay going on, they would pose for pictures with you, pictures with Anthony. People at booths that even if you didn't buy anything, they were giving Anthony stickers. There wasn't a lot of kids there. So the kids that were there, I think they kind of doted over them. They got more stuff.
That's cool.
Now, if you do have kids and you don't want to hear them to, hear the F bomb or GD or something like that, that's not the place to take them, because Kane Hodder would drop the F bomb in a heartbeat and he would laugh about it. And then he made a joke that anybody that effing cusses is an idiot, and he was kind of pointing at himself. But he winked at Anthony when he said that, because he did it in the panel. We were on the front row, and when he said it, he looked at Anthony, kind of winked at him when he said it. But he was a really cool guy. The whole community, that community of horror, down to earth people. I mean, just mostly probably. I mean, you saw anything. You saw people my age, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you saw 12-year-olds. A lot of early 20 and 30-year-olds. So I was really impressed with it. Also, you talked me into this. We got a room at the place that the event was happening.
So listen, I want to tell this. So listen, Mike goes, it's expensive to stay there. He's like, I'm staying at a hotel down the road. I said, Mike, are you nuts?
It was $100 cheaper.
I said, Friday night, you need to stay at that hotel, because listen, everybody at that convention that stars is staying there. You will spot them around, like maybe not everybody, but you'll see them, and you'll be able to, all the stuff that you want signed, you'll have up in your room. You can just take it down a little by little, get stuff signed, bring it back up. And he was like, oh.
Best advice we'd ever been given. The very first night, we went and got all this stuff signed right off the bat, took it back to the room, come right back down to the convention. I mean, this was in Concord, North Carolina, which is, if you know anything about North Carolina, Concord is really where the Charlotte race is held. So this was the Embassy Suites, really nice convention area.
Was it big? I mean, how big was the room?
It was pretty damn big. I'm telling you, it's pretty big.
I looked at the list of vendors and I couldn't believe it, dude. It
was big, and they had plenty of room for more, really, in some of the other rooms that were off to this. The Q&A answer, the question and answer room, where they did separate for the stars. I mean, that was a huge ballroom in itself. Now, also tonight, if you had the RIP, you got 2 drinks. This was something else different for me, and I'd never seen this before. But they sold alcohol at the convention. I mean, down here in the South, they normally don't do stuff like that. You could go and get a mixed drink. You can get a beer. You can just walk around the vendors, go to the Q&As with your beer, alcohol, whatever in the convention. If you go to a comic convention around here, you don't see that. There's no alcohol sold or anything, because I guess the kids and stuff, plus the Bible Belt down here. But at that one, you could get a drink and walk around. It's no big deal. But it was really good, because last night, as soon as we walked in, we saw the kid from Terrifier 2.
Yeah, I was about to say, what people did you run into? Because like outside of the convention, did you have some people that you ran into? Because
we ran in at the Godfather at Texas Roadhouse. We just said hey to him. He's kind of waved at him. He kind of waved back. Dude, I didn't go up and talk to him.
Back in the day, that guy was a legit badass.
Yeah, we ran into him. The Terrifier 2 kid was in there. Rob Zombie's boys, the one that just played in the Munsters, he was over there with Bill Moseley.
Is he tall? He's pretty tall, right?
He's pretty tall. He's about 6'4", look like, probably 6'3", 6'4".
Okay.
The one thing, Kane Hodder, when he played Jason in his prime, he's about 6'2", 290. And he was muscled up back then. And to see him now, close to 70, and he's just, people are getting older. You don't stay that big.
Right.
And it was hard to see somebody like that you had always remembered being this big guy. And he's older now. I mean, we all go through that through life, right. But I'm telling you, some of these guys, if you don't get their autographs, I heard a guy, there was a guy from Kentucky that was in line. I'll talk to anybody, but there was a guy from Kentucky right behind me. He drove down by himself from Lexington, Kentucky. Yeah. And he said that we were talking about it. I said, yeah, these guys are getting older, and I want my son to meet them. I want him to get their autograph. And Yeah, the Gilbert say the north south. That's right. But he told me, he said, he said several years back he was at a convention and he didn't get Betsy Palmer's autograph, who was in the original Friday the 13th, Kevin Bacon and some of the others in it. Adrienne King, she played the main female role. He said, I didn't get her autograph and she passed away the following year. And he said, I've regretted that
Right.
ever since. And he said, now when I want an autograph of somebody,
You get it.
I get it now because you just
Well,
don't know what's going to happen.
well, like you wish you would have gotten a Gunner
Yeah, I
hand.
think I didn't really want to get Gunner till he was already dead, but like I'd
Right.
like to get it now. But his autograph
Three,
is
four hundred
two,
dollars.
two or $300 at the minimum.
Yeah.
Sometimes $400 and
Yep.
$500.
Yeah. Definite. And dude, like I'm thinking that one in Atlanta that we're thinking about, I'm thinking that's gonna be bigger than the one that you were just at because it's Atlanta, it's a big city. Um, I mean, they already have the four people from Scream. I mean, alone that's gonna draw in a ton of people. Like just them on the marquee alone. Like who else are they gonna get? Like, you
Well,
know,
last year at this same Charlotte one, they had Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard there.
yeah.
They also had Nick Castle and
Wow.
James Jude Courtney. So
Yeah,
they had
dude.
four right there, right off the bat, that were pretty
Dude,
big names.
yeah, man.
Kane Hodder was there again last year.
You probably wish you would have went to that one last year too.
Yeah, too late, man. Yeah.
Well, hey, man, from now on, you'll probably be keeping an eye on because that's not far from you at all, dude. So,
No,
definitely.
that one, I mean, it's going to be a really easy trip for us. Atlanta's about a 4.5, 5 hour drive if we go to it, which is not too bad. But, now that I've got this little list for Anthony, because every time I'd go up to him, they'd ask, who do you want to write it out to?
Yeah.
And I want this stuff to be for Anthony for down the road when I'm gone, or he can pass it to his kids.
Some of it says Mike, right, on it.
Yeah, I did get one because Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
I had 2 items to sign. He said, "Well, you want me to sign one to Anthony and one to you?" And I said, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah,
so
why not?
He said, "To Mike, I'll see you in hell."
Yeah, I like
Let me
that.
tell you a cool little story with him, real quick.
Okay.
He told us in the Q&A,
yeah,
that he was from Liverpool,
yeah,
and that him and Clive Barker. I never knew this because I didn't study up on this.
yeah.
Him and Clive Barker were classmates together in school.
Clive Barker wrote the Hellraiser book. He didn't call it that. I think it's called something. I don't know the original name of Hellraiser, but I don't think it's called Hellraiser. But he wrote that book, and he also had a lot of input with the movies. So, yeah.
So Clive Barker and him were classmates, and after they got out of college, they started their own theater company together. And he said at that same high school, they gave a lot of freedom in the arts area. Like they let Clive Barker do a whole week of any kind of plays he wanted to put on. He put in one of his plays was Inferno. Doug Bradley said he was already kind of dark and down the horror road, and he did that in high school. He said 10 years earlier, there was a guy in a band, and it ended up being John Lennon. John Lennon went to the same high school 10 years earlier, and they gave him the same freedom in the arts and music world where he was able to do whatever he wanted to in school for a whole week. And so you got a bed of talent there coming out of that area, but it was pretty cool to hear that story.
John Lennon's a music genius, so yeah. But yeah, no, that's awesome story, Mike. I'm really glad that and like you said, when you met these people, they were like genuine. They weren't just like next please, like, you know what I mean? They took some time with you. They gave you a couple of freebies, a couple of them did, and they took time to listen to what you had to say. And they, like you said, PJ Souls was happy to see that you brought that figure. I mean, that's a new figure, I think, Mike.
Yeah, and, she made the comment that her grandson, she got a copy of it and gave it to her grandson, and he was like thrilled that his grandmother, PJ Souls, was had an action figure. So I think it's the first one she's ever had.
Has he watched Halloween?
Really cool. Huh?
Hopefully he closes his eyes during one part.
Totally.
Like, wait, that's my grandma?
Man, Grandma, you looked awful perky back in the day.
Oh, Mike!
Hey,
But
she did make a comment about Bill Murray and said what an a-hole he was. Basically, she
yeah,
didn't say it,
well,
but
I like Bill Murray, but yeah, I could see that.
yep.
Your wife said absolute truth. Mike will talk to anybody.
Really, Michelle? Come on now. Maybe everybody but Billy J. I won't talk to Billy J.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to say about this? I'll just say that I'm jealous. So, but Mike did fill me in on Marco Polo. I live in Michigan. If anybody didn't know that, I live in Michigan, so that's kind of a far drive. But hopefully we can put something together. If not Atlanta, maybe something else down the road. But we are seriously talking about to going to the horror convention in Atlanta.
You need to
Ronnie
look at Detroit too. I think Detroit has some big ones up there, Josh.
Ronnie, I heard that Indianapolis has a really big one, Mike.
And Lexington, Kentucky has a big one. Indianapolis has a big one.
Yeah. So,
Charlotte.
um, Ronnie Gilbert. Well, why don't you meet us in Atlanta, Ronnie Gilbert? You said you wanted to go to a horror convention with Loveless. I mean, that'd be your chance. I mean, that's
He
not
likes to
super
drive
far.
everywhere. He's not going to fly into Atlanta.
Oh, but yeah, like I said, I was just really happy for you and Anthony to be able to experience this. I was also very happy that you did take me along and showed me Marco Polo's different things. I appreciate that, and it was really cool to see it, Mike.
Yeah, it's we had a great time. I mean, we really did. And one thing I can say too for this Real Dead is channel is kind of it's fun for us. It's not work. It's our regular
No,
channel is not work either for us. It's all fun. So this
this really is like a passion
yeah, I mean it's I've always
thing.
liked horror movies. My mother
Yeah.
took me to horror movies. I've told everybody that story before. When I was younger, my mother got me into horror movies, really. Um, but the one thing I really think that the few that's in here, and maybe if you're watching on replay, definitely check out our channel going forward because I've got a ton of footage, and I
Right.
got quite a few of these stars video and them signing and talking to us, and then kind of a tour of the Mad Monster what the cosplay, and then the just the whole invention, horror convention, what all was there. So we're gonna do, we're probably gonna get 4, 5, 6 videos out of this. I'll try to put one out tomorrow on a haul and show everybody what we got, and I'm gonna work on that in the morning and get that
Okay.
out real quick, and then probably within a week we'll do a tour of the convention.
Mich-
Um,
Hang on just a second. Michelle, will you tell Ronnie Gilbert what that is that we're going to in Atlanta in the comments? Just let him know what that is. But yeah, Mike, I think it's great. That's awesome if you get a video out tomorrow. I didn't expect that. And yeah, we are keeping up with our schedule. We just released Pet Cemetery Review, which is doing well for us so far. We've released some Spirit Halloween hauls, some Spirit Halloween shorts and things. Mike did a Timu video that's doing well. I went to a horror museum. That video is doing well for us. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of things like different kind of experiences that we've had on this channel right now. It's really good. Our channel has momentum, I feel like, and we're doing well right now. And it's just really cool to to do this with you, Mike. It's a lot of fun. We both have a passion for horror movies. And like when you met those actors, I wanted to ask you that. When you met some of those actors, did you feel like a little starstruck, like maybe with Kane Hodder? And nothing?
Believe it or not, I didn't. I mean, Kane Hodder, the thought of it did, but he is so down to earth. These stars, I mean, they'll tell you this. I mean, a lot of them are, like you said earlier, they're older now. And I think they appreciate that we, the audience and the fans, appreciate their work. And that we're willing to give our hard-earned money to them for some of this memorabilia stuff or signatures or to talk to them or pictures.
Right.
And if you think about it, I mean, when you're in your 60s and 70s, I mean, your stuff, you'll see it on TV and stuff every once in a while, but this is a time for them to give back to their fans.
Right.
And and you got people like PJ Souls, who's been in not just horror only, but she's been in comedies, and it's a great opportunity for them to give back, but also make a pretty good amount of money on it too. I mean, I mean, if somebody was an a-hole, I think word would get out, and they they wouldn't do as well at their booth.
Maybe
But
what's his name? Jeffrey didn't want to get an elevator with you or something, Mike. Remember?
huh?
You said that Jeffrey guy didn't want to get an elevator with you.
Yeah, I think Anthony got a little upset about that. We were getting ready to get on the elevator to go up to our room, and they had hit the up button, and then they got on, and then when they saw we were getting on too, they got off. So I don't know if I don't give a shit about the monsters. I don't give a shit about the movies that guy's in. I mean, I don't mean to be mean. I wasn't there to see him anyway. I didn't get his autograph, but I don't think he meant anything by it. Anthony kind of took it personal because Anthony's like, I'm going to say hey to him. I'm going to do that. And then all of a sudden they got off. I
Right?
don't think it had anything to do with them.
I don't even know what else he's in besides that monster, but I know he's in Rob Zombie stuff. But
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah.
I'm not really a fan of the guy. I don't dislike.
I don't know nothing about the guy. I mean,
Right.
I hadn't seen the new Monsters movie.
He's
So
well, I heard it's horrible, but that's just
yeah,
that's what I heard.
but he had a decent crowd at his table. The ones that had the longest crowd were was Rose today,
Yeah,
Bradley, and Kane Hodder.
What about did Heather Langenkamp have anything?
Yeah, she had a decent line today.
Well, she was just here today, though.
Yeah, she wasn't here last night. PJ Souls, I mean, it wasn't wrapped around the building or anything. You could get there pretty quick. I mean, she was really nice too. I mean, I think most of them live in California and were flying in.
Wow.
I think Kane Hodder that was another thing Kane Hodder talked about was he's doing paranormal stuff now. He's got a team. It's called LA Paranormal, I believe.
Yeah.
But he's going to some of these paranormal places. And he did make a comment that of all the places he's been to, he's only had one experience where he thought it could have been something. But
right.
He'll tell you up front he don't really believe in it. And he said, you're going to have to prove it to me that it's real.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
And he also let me give you a little tip on there and the full video of him, about a 35-minute audio video coming out on them.
Yeah.
He makes a comment that they asked him about playing number 13. Would he want to play number 13? And he said, listen, he said, I'm older now. He says, I don't think they think I'm as mobile and as big and bulky as Jason needs to be. And he says, I get that.
Yeah.
He says, but the only thing I would ask them to do, and I think he's telling us intentionally to get it out there, he says, please let me have a shot at directing it because it'll be the bloodiest damn movie you've ever seen. And I thought that was really cool to hear him say that.
But he also threw shade on Artie Lehman.
He did, but he didn't say Ari Lehman was the worst Jason he's ever seen.
Who did he say?
You're going to have to watch. You're going to have to watch. Listen to the video to see.
Okay.
Because he told the crowd this, and Anthony was right there too. He said, "You're throwing me under the bus on this one." A person in the crowd asked that question. Said, "Of all the other Jasons that you've watched, which one do you feel like didn't do the part justice?" He said, "I've never been asked that question." And he said, I'm going to throw somebody under the bus by doing this. He said, but I'm going to answer it. And he did answer it.
Wow. I'll have to listen to that. So Mozone said Baltimore has a few horror conventions. Awesome. Mike from Nebraska says the Midwest gets nothing. Well, I just think it's a population thing. Like they want to go where their people are. In the Midwest, there's people, but there's not huge gatherings.
The Charlotte area too is over 1.5 million people.
Yeah,
in Charlotte, and Concord's just 10 minutes from Charlotte. It's just outside skirts of it.
And Atlanta is nuts. So yeah, that's why you'd have one there. Like
there's a real big one in Orlando too, because I've seen the Degenerate Cruisers. Jason, I've seen him go to them out there before.
Okay.
I didn't see like last year. Adam the Woo and the Carpetbagger were at this one. I didn't see them there this year, but Orlando may be another good spot to go down to Florida as well.
So like the Mad Monster is like just like they're like a convention name.
All over the U.S.
Right, but there's other ones that have different names.
Right.
And then, so yeah, but you definitely are interested in checking out more Mad Monster conventions.
The way this was ran today, I thought was excellent, or this whole weekend. I was very impressed. I've been to other conventions before, comic book conventions.
Right.
This one was ran like clockwork. I mean, the amount of staff they had there, volunteers, very, very organized. They had 5 lanes when you came in, and like the RIP lane was lane 1. Lane 5 was the lane that if you went and got a bracelet, you went to the back of the line. I mean, very, very organized.
Okay.
And I mean, they let, Anthony, he was 12 and under and got in free. But like when I went to the RIP room, or
They let him go.
I didn't have an issue with him going in there by himself. It felt very safe. I mean, I was just really impressed with it.
Awesome, man. So, hey, I think is that good? You want to call it a live?
I think that's good, man.
Okay, man. Mike, I seriously I'm glad that you got to go. And yeah, I'm glad we did this live. I really enjoyed listening to what you had to say, and hope everybody else did. Anything else you want to say, Mike?
No, just everybody in here is probably already subscribed to us, but if you're watching this on a replay, hit us up, subscribe, hit that bell notification,
Yep.
because there's going to be definitely more videos coming on this convention.
Yep.
And definitely some shorts coming out on it as well.
Right. And then our regular movie shorts and our movie reviews and things like that. So figure reviews and stuff. So, okay, guys, we will talk to you later. I'm Josh, the horror guy.
And I'm
that's
keeping it real, Mike.
Mike, that's right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.